Hi, this is Charlie Mato-Toyela with Blue Bear Flutes, and of course our website, bluebearflutes.com. I should really say that a lot of times in this video, bluebearflutes.com, because if I don't, then you won't know where you can go to buy some of these flutes, which people oftentimes ask me, where can I buy this flute? You can buy it from bluebearflutes.com. I've actually had somebody in a video just recently that I replied to that asked, where do I have schematics for how to do this, that, and the other, or could you post schematics for how to do this, that, and the other? And so I sent them a link to another video where I posted the schematics in, because oftentimes people get hung up on one video and think this is the only video that I have, when in reality there are so many. I just try not to bombard you with everything. There's too much time in this world today that people are texting you or emailing you junk that you don't want, and I don't want to become that person with the junk that you don't want. So sometimes I make you look for it, or you can ask me and I'll help you find it. Anyway, today's video is one that is not only good for flute makers, but also for flute players or people wanting to take care of or maintain their Native American or other wooden flutes or other wooden musical instruments, I dare say, and maybe anything else made out of wood. Now, historically, many peoples of the world have made things out of wood. And, I guess all peoples of the world, I'm sorry. I'm thinking in time periods and groups of people that we used to call race until that became a social construct. But many peoples of the world at different time periods have made many different types of things out of wood. Some things that you wouldn't imagine. Most of you young folks under the age of 50 probably can't imagine someone building an automobile out of wood. But if you look back historically, Model Ts and As, the ones prior to that, especially the cars that were called horseless carriages or steam powered, all of those were made out of wood. Just really amazing. Well, not the Model Ts and As, but anyway, they had a lot of wood in them, to say the least. And today, when you look at your car and you see that fancy design that's on the plastic that's in front of you, unless you're driving a Bugatti, it's usually made out of plastic. And it looks like wood, but there's a reason for that. It's kind of like a historical thing. Anyway, this is going to show you how to maintain a wood item that is going to be something that you're going to want to touch on a regular basis, or that you're going to want to be able to play with your mouth. Other instruments, like a guitar, for example, you may not need to do this too unless your guitar manufacturer recommends you do it. And the reason I suggest that is because oftentimes a lot of what are considered to be higher-end instruments today are covered in lacquer or some type of glossy finish that will come off if we use a wax product or an oil product of some sort on them. They're, again, historical instruments, even back to the finest violins that we all know who made. They were oiled and not waxed, or oiled and waxed and not lacquered. And the reason that they were done that way is because not only historically that's the way people have done things, but when you lacquer something, it's done. That's the finish that it's going to have if you take care of it from here on out. If you oil and wax something, the finish gets better and better and better and better the more you maintain it. Likewise, if you oil and wax something, the oil penetrates the wood and it eventually gets kind of a supple or a softness inside of the wood. Whereas if you lacquer it, the lacquer is actually protecting the wood from ever soaking any of that in. So there's a lot of pros and cons. Plus, myself, whether it comes from a shellac beetle, and you can look that up if you're interested in knowing why I'm saying that, or if it comes from whatever, I'm not interested in putting any kind of lacquer on my instruments. Historically, it never happened, prior to 65 years ago anyway. It's just not as good in my opinion. And if Stradivari was still alive, you could probably ask him, and I would hope that he would say the same thing. I'm more than confident he would, as well as any other great musical instrument makers or players. So all that in mind, what we're going to do today is use 3 different oil type products. 2 of them are from a company that I've never used before, but I have no problem with. I recommend them without having used them, simply because I read the product description and it fits the bill. It really is good stuff. Then I've got a product that we carry on our website, and I'm going to tell you about a 4th one that we use on all of our flutes today, just to FYI. So these are Western cedar flutes. Two of them are in the key of G, and one of them is in the key of F sharp. I'll play them for you. And then I'm going to put the coating of one of these three products on the outside of it, tell you what the benefit is, and then I'll tell you the benefit of putting one of the coatings on the inside of it, which is pretty much something you can do at home even if you don't buy this stuff. So I'm telling you, their products seem to be very good, and I'm not necessarily promoting them. I'm just promoting using common sense products, which once again, these guys seem to be pretty good. So the first thing, these are flutes that we finished in the shop yesterday that needed to be oiled and waxed, and I'm taking the block off of them. They're just rubber band on because when we make a flute, they go through different stages. You know, speaking of Model Ts and Model As, we have kind of an assembly line. I do this part, then I hand it over to my son, who does this, this, and this, and then he hands them over to my wife, who in most cases is the one that does this, this, and this, and then it usually goes out, which there again is my wife. So she has the most hats of all of us, but oftentimes, depending on the flute type, I'll get it at that last process before it gets shipping. But anyway, these have been sanded a lot. There's one of them that has some minor flaws on the outside, but I chalk up, you know, flaws to just general beauty of the wood and everything, and you have to kind of learn to live with that. This is the flute wax that we have on our website. We offer it for sale on our website, and like everything else that I offer for sale, I have instructions on a video somewhere to tell you how to make it. So I'm not trying to hide my designs from anybody. And for that same reason, I'm often shocked when people ask if they can come to my shop and pick out their flute. Obviously, these people are one of two types. They're either people who have no idea how many flutes we ship on a regular basis and don't realize that if you have to wait for 2 weeks to have something to even ship, most of the time it's generally because we are 2 weeks behind on the production of said item. Therefore, I don't have hundreds of flutes laying around in my shop ready to play. As a matter of fact, as I just told someone yesterday, if there is a flute that is completed in my workshop at this point in history, it usually has a postage stamp on it, and it's waiting to be shipped out either that same day or the next day. So there's no coming to my shop and picking up a flute. The other kind of people that are interested in coming to my shop are usually for nefarious purposes, and it's because they either want to prove something about me that they have concocted in their mind, or that they want to harm me in some way. And hopefully there's less of the latter, but they are out there, I promise you. Anyway, this wax that we make, which is primarily beeswax and mineral oil, makes a really beautiful shine. I'm sure you can see that in the video. I'll kind of hold it for you in the light a little bit in hopes that maybe you can see some of what I'm seeing here, especially around the knots where the wood changes its tensile strength. Those areas are almost always almost hypnotic looking to look at. They're really interesting. Now, after one of your flutes has been oiled with a product like this, it's good to, well, rather waxed. I mean, this stuff is so soft, as you see. It looks almost like the consistency of Vaseline if it's made right. It will soak into the wood. Generally, in the shop, before we would use this product on them, we would always oil them with something. But in this particular case, it's okay that I went the other way around. When I get it back down to the shop, one thing I'm going to do is pour some oil inside of it, because we like to oil the inside of the flute as well as the outside. Stradivari. Anyway, and that really helps the flute. It helps to seal the pores on the inside of the flute and the outside. You can do this at home with olive oil. If you don't live in the state of California where mineral oil causes cancer, you can use mineral oil. Unless you're in another state where it causes cancer, in which case don't use it there either. In any case, there are a lot of things like that. Historically, natives would have used oil made from an animal. A lot of people are familiar with the idea of using bear fat. That's probably because historically there's a lot of bears in this country, and a lot of us ate them, and they have a lot of fat on their body, especially at certain times of the year, and so we found things to use that fat for. So that's a good reason why it is that a lot of us use bear fat. Another thing that was real prominent, and I believe if I remember right, I read about people using dog fat, which I know was something, I mean, I've actually had some friends that made some pretty good dog jerky. But dog fat is something that you would have found on this. Any other animal that produces a fat that's easy to harvest would have been used to oil flutes. And I'm not telling you to go kill your chihuahua and use it to clean your flute with. That is a bad idea. PETA will be all over you, animal rights activists and people, and it would make most of the rest of us very unhappy. No matter how much you don't like chihuahuas, please don't do that. But anyway, a little comedy routine there. If you can imagine, though, historically people had to get some oil from somewhere, and it wasn't easy to squeeze it out of a corn seed, so they got it out of animals. And animal fat is one of the things that people, like I say, use to cover their flutes. I'm not going to wax this right now, although it's at least a good idea to wax the bottom of it, just to keep from having to go on with this dude. But anyway, I had seen this diorama at the Cahokia Indian Mounds in Illinois, which my family and I have attended their events over and over throughout the years. And they had a beautiful display and information about the different kinds of fats that people use. You may not be able to hear the difference. I can hear the difference on this end, and if I had poured oil down inside of it, you most definitely would have heard the difference. I would use this one except for the fact that I'm trying to keep these products all separate in this comparison. Next, that's the one we're going to use, which this product, I'll tell you, I bought, I think it was at Lowe's or Home Depot. I think they both carry it. And if you can't find it there, you might find it at Ace Hardware. If you're outside the U.S., anywhere that sells furniture finishes, this is called, it's by a company called Howard, and it's called Cutting Board Oil. Colorless, odorless, tasteless, food-grade mineral oil enriched with vitamin E. Great for bamboo on the front. It's got a little great for bamboo symbol on the front, which is really cool. I've used mineral oil historically on flutes for a long time. As a matter of fact, if you're a flute maker and you need a lot of mineral oil and you're at the point in your life right now that you haven't switched on to something else, or you just prefer to stick with mineral oil and you can't find a good place to get it, I buy mineral oil for making this stuff right here at any of your Tractor Supply, Rural King, any kind of farm supply company. They sell food grade mineral oil for horses, and I'll just let you look up why it is that they do that. And if you have an idea why, this would be a good time to post that in the comments, because I'm not going to say that. But anyway, it's an interesting product that they sell. It is food grade, and well, typically you can read on there if it's food grade. And then any of you in California, there's a lot of things like chocolate and all kinds of stuff that have mineral oil slipped in that you may not know about. Specialized wood care for butcher blocks, cutting boards, wooden bowls, utensils. Penetrating quality of pure USP food grade mineral oil rejuvenates the wood and helps prevent drying and cracking. I mean, this is stuff that you really need to know about your flute, especially if you ever think, I'm going to set this flute in the dash of my car. That's a bad idea. I'm going to tell you right now, don't do that. Don't set it in the door of your car either while you close it. That's a bad idea. And I'm not speaking from experience. I'm speaking from other people's experience. I've heard that so many times that their flute gets slammed in the car door. Terrible, terrible. Anyway, this is just oil. And I can't smell it. So it is odorless. Anyway, I'm putting a drop, or more of a sploot. It's kind of like between a splat and a pour. I'll put a sploot of it in my hand there, and I'm covering the flute. You'll notice right off it's not as shiny as our wax, but that's typically because it doesn't have a wax in it, and it's currently soaking into the pores, and it'll be down to the surface level of this flute in just moments. I'm going to take this opportunity, since I have this product in hand, just to give you an idea. I should have played it first. Doggone it. I know I forgot something. I'll play the next one first. Take this opportunity to pour some inside. People ask me, how much do you use? Well, I use enough that it's all the way at the bottom already. Well, the top. I don't want it to pour out because I don't want it to contaminate this other flute that I haven't put anything on yet. There we go. What I've been doing here is rolling it around in my hand so that it covers the inside of the flute almost completely. Now when I wipe this off, it should not be as shiny as that other one is. All that other one has soaked into the wood a great deal. And it's not, and that is okay. That is not a problem. If you use a product like this, I'm going to tell you from my own experience, use a product like this on your flute over and over again for years, it will develop a shine the likes of which no modern products will be able to compare with. No lacquers, no gloss, no oil or shine or anything that you put on the hood of a Lamborghini is going to make it shine as pretty as using a product like this over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's a very natural way to do things and something I recommend highly, and I really enjoy and appreciate myself, obviously. I'm not going to coat the bottom of this because it's not going to make a big difference with oil. Not yet. There's not enough surface area there, although there is enough surface area on the inside to matter. And I'm going to play this for you, let you see what it sounds like. And I know from having played this flute before, I sat down, that is night and day different from the way it was when it was dry. If you'll notice, as I had mentioned, it's soaked up quite a bit of the oil already. It doesn't look like it has a glaze on the outside of it anymore, which it of course doesn't. I'm going to set that down and do something I told you I wasn't going to do, just because I didn't play this one first. I'm going to go ahead and put some oil inside of this one that I used our wax on. That way you can hear what it sounds like. Not even going to take the block off. I will tell you, if you don't take the block off at home and you let some oil run down in there, it's not going to damage anything. But what it is going to do is it's going to cause it to gurgle a little bit like you were wetting out. And that gurgling is annoying, but it will go away, especially if you hold your finger on it and blow it out as much as you can. Okay, I think that covered all the inside of it pretty good. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this or not. I know I will be able. I mean, it's night and day. It's really a big difference. The reason I don't like to use lacquer on my flutes is because if you do that with a lacquered flute, whether it's oil lacquered or water lacquered, water-based, it's going to remove the lacquer. Over time, oiling and waxing a lacquered flute will remove the lacquer. And that's a warning. If any of you have those fancy shiny flutes that you put something else on it, it might make it not shiny anymore, until the point that the shine's completely off and then this natural stuff starts soaking in. So you're welcome to ask your flute maker about that. They may fib and tell you, yes, we use a natural oil on it, when in reality, we really don't use a natural oil on it. They'll tell you that. I can usually tell by looking at it because it takes years to build up the kind of shine that a lot of these people have on their stuff. This is another product by Howard. You'll find companies all over the place that sell things like this. This product by Howard is actually following what I call an Amish wax kind of routine. It's called Butcher Block Conditioner, and when I read it, it is food grade mineral oil and natural beeswax, and it says again, great for bamboo. This is basically the same stuff I have here. If you'll notice, they're really close to the same color, which means these guys use a good quality beeswax because that wax here is top notch. So it's basically the same thing. If I'm looking at it right, it's a little more viscous. It's kind of runnier than mine is. Anyway, it is good looking stuff. Basically the natural version has kind of a good smell to it. I don't know what I would call that. It's not either of the smells I expected, but I'm sure it's good stuff. You know, this company here very much cares about your safety and how natural stuff is. And don't forget that at the end of the video, I didn't play this one yet, did I? I'm going to tell you about the other product that I use today, which I'm not going to recommend you buy because as far as I know, you can only buy it in bulk. Flute makers may want to buy it, and some of you may use it already. This is a dry flute. And now we're going to use this product on it and see what it sounds like afterward. if you'll notice, very much like my wax, this stuff comes out a little runny and a little waxy at the same time. If it was a little more homeostasis, like if I spent 5 minutes shaking it, I don't even see that on the instructions, but I'm sure it's a good idea to shake it. If it was a little more well mixed together, it would come out a little thicker. The runny is just the oil separating from the wax, kind of like if you open a new jar of peanut butter. Okay, so letting that soak in a little bit there, I'm going to go ahead and wipe it. And to make the greatest of differences, since this product already has their other product contained therein, I'm going to go ahead and put it on the inside before I even play it for you again the first time. That might make the most grand, whoops, sorry table, that might make the most grand difference for you. Close. The reason the camera's not jiggling right now is because it's on a tripod. Any of you that have been with me over the years, you probably know why I'm saying that. Okay, I'm just running the oil down inside of the flute and throughout. Once again, this is something that if you do it for a year or two, you'll never have to do it again. I do have other flutes, and I have mentioned in other videos, and I'm not going to go grab them right now to show you, but I have showed you flutes that I own that are 20 and 30 years old, and they've only been oiled or waxed maybe like 10 times at the most, and they have a natural patina and shine on the outside of them that is just really incredible. Now, I will tell you something that I know too, and the people that manufacture this product know that the harder your wax is, surfers know this, and it's another good people, the harder your wax is, the harder packed it is, and the less runny it is, the better the shine. I don't know if the lighting there again will show you, but I can see it on my end. The flute that I waxed with our wax, which is a little harder than the stuff from this bottle here, is a little shinier. I don't know if you can see it well. Like I said, anywhere I've touched to, my hands are covered in mineral oil, so it'll shine a little bit more there too. But I can tell by looking at it immediately, and it's not because this isn't a good product. It's a fantastic product. Like I say, I'm not trying to promote them. I'm just telling you that they're out there if you need them. Just read what you're buying. Know what you're using. But because it's in a bottle like that, instead of an open container that you have to kind of scrape it out, it isn't going to produce a staying shine as quickly as this will. This doesn't soak in as well as that does. So this is more of a one-size-fits-all because it soaks in, it's a little runny, and it otherwise, although you can't put it on the inside, obviously. Straight mineral oil for that. But if you want something, make yourself some or buy some from me. It's all good, however you do it. A little harder wax, something that's a little firmer, will produce a better shine. And that's just how it works. So let's see what it sounds like now. You might want to stop and go back and listen to the other version and then come back and listen to this. I played that one note in there that all you can't play unless you have a 6-hole flute. I played that for you, and then I played the blues note for you. Yeah. Other videos if this is the first time you see me. Anyway, a great product. Now, last but not least, I'm going to tell you the thing that we use in the shop today is a product called AFM Safe Coat. It is a it's very viscous. It's more like this mineral oil, or actually closer to olive oil. Mineral oil is much more viscous than olive oil. Viscous just means how quickly it'll flow through a certain size orifice. Painters know what I'm talking about. If you're a painter and you can explain it better than I did, please put it in the comments down below. Anyway, so the AFM Safe Coat wax that I use is a natural product made of plants. It comes from a company that is more concerned about your health than this company, I am, or almost anybody but Mother Nature. AFM Safe Coat has done just mounds of research on all their products. I'm not plugging them right here because unless you want to buy a gallon of this stuff for like $100 and something bucks, I think it's like $150, I'm not telling you about that. If you're a flute maker or someone that found my video and are woodworking and you're trying to find a covering for your wood, I recommend them if you're going to be doing a lot of it. They have a oil product, which I like, and they have a wax product, which I like. The difference between the two is the oil is a little thinner and dries a little quicker and needs more applications. The wax is a little thicker, not by enough that a common user will find out, but somebody that's familiar with viscosity will definitely know. And the wax version of it, there again, they both look like this in the jar, or in the can. They're very viscous, but once it solidifies and or dries, the wax version of it leaves a much thicker and more relevant coating on the outside. It's a great product. It's got like walnut oil in it, and I think it's got olive oil in it. But there's so many things in it that are different than what most people use. It's really good. But if you have 20 flutes, you will not use this stuff in your lifetime. You will not finish using it ever. You really only need to use it about 4 or 5 times, and then you're done for the rest of your life. This stuff here, what I sell or what these guys here sell, or even if you bought it yourself, you might have to do it 10 or 15 times in your lifetime. In my opinion, it's a much more natural and more organic way to do something. I don't mean organic like it comes out of the earth or whatever. I mean it is a more original way to do something than something that dries quicker and you have to use less to produce a higher shine. That's for somebody who's in business doing this. Unfortunately, there's that company, and there's probably 1 or 2 others, but the company I use, there again, done my research on them before I decided to use them. Very happy with it. AFM Safe Coat oil wax finish. But, like I say, to a regular person, don't buy that stuff. I mean, I'm not putting them down at all. I recommend them highly, but you spend $100 on something that you will use maybe somewhere between a thimbleful each time that you use it, or a teaspoonful each time you use it, and you'll have about 8,000 teaspoonfuls left for the rest of your life. So, gotta use a little bit of sense. Plus, who wants to have a big gallon jug of that stuff sitting around in their house? And the good thing about it is, if you go back with any of these products, it's not going to damage it. It may take a minuscule amount of the shine off, but in doing so, you're going to eventually build up something even better. So, like I said, find yourself a product like this, or these, if you like. These are made in the USA, my God, with global materials, but in Paso Robles, Howard Products, Paso Robles, California. Good company, good product. I respect them just by what I've seen. Kind of apples and oranges. It's easy to tell. So once again, I hope you guys have found some use in this video. You want to ask me how often you need to do this? When it becomes less shiny, go back and do it again. If it looks dry, go back and do it again. If it doesn't sound the way it did, an hour ago or 2 days ago or a week ago, go back and put something on the inside of it like that. Stick with natural stuff that's safe, because you're going to be, putting it around your mouth. Of course, most of us know, don't eat poison. Poison bad. We know that because we learned it from a childhood. What you may not know is something that you can learn from a Paint Clan Cherokee, or at least a descendant of a Paint Clan Cherokee. I don't think any of us have clans anymore these days, even the ones that do. But I do have Paint Clan in my family. You put anything on your skin, it's going to absorb into your body. And that's kind of like the whole reason that they call Paint Clan Cherokee that. So if you put something in your skin, it will absorb into your body. And if you keep touching things that are toxic, those toxins absorb into your body. I'm not one of those wackos that just think that, you shouldn't do this, this, and this, but there's a lot of that that's really true. So keep that in mind. I'm a wacko with a shorter lifespan, I guess. Anyway, Charlie Mato-Toyela signing out for Blue Bear Flutes and bluebearflutes.com. I do have other videos on maintaining flutes, by the way, if that's what you're interested in. This one, I think, pretty much fits the bill. I look forward to seeing you here again. Make sure you like and subscribe and share me with all your friends and your enemies. And I will hope to see you again here very soon. Take care.